Hello everyone, welcome back. This is part 2. My iPad ran out of video space, so I had to stop and do a little adjusting, and so this is part 2 now. So we're going to finish. I actually got a little bit ahead of you before I noticed that the iPad had shut off. So this is part 2, and we were working on finishing our circle. So, which is now going to be called a sphere because it's three-dimensional. And we had just gotten to start our number 5 right here. And then we were going to grab some graphite and make our number 4. And then our number 3 coming into about the middle. And then now we have our sphere that has a hard shadow. So we can see that it's three-dimensional now. So, and then our next part is going to be a cone. So I actually had it started a little bit. So I'm going to talk you through it. Even though mine still is here, I'm going to talk you through what you need to do. So first thing you're going to do is make a triangle, top of a triangle, or a big capital letter A. And once you have that, you're going to curve the bottom. Make it curved because we're going to make this three-dimensional. So, and then for the hard shadow, you're going to go right from the bottom curve. You're going to go out at an angle and make sure you're staying horizontal because this is your table. You want to stay horizontal on the table. And then you're going to come out and then come back in to the near the bottom. You go up a little bit from the very bottom corner. And you're just going to create that open triangle, and then you're going to color in, and you're going to do your number 6 there. So both directions, and the best you can at coloring that in. Remember, if you go out of the lines a little bit, just take your eraser and come back in here. Remember not to wipe it. You're going to just tap it and then wipe away, okay? Because you don't want to wipe across that. So now what we're going to do is create the shadow on the cone, and what we're going to do is actually use a little bit of graphite, and you might be able to see there's a light line right down the middle. I use just my blending stick to draw that line because I'm going to actually blend that out in a couple of seconds. So now what I'm going to do is that's my halfway. That tells me I don't want to go past that way because the light is coming in from this direction and it's hitting this surface. So this is going to be our bright white. So over here, you can notice how the top of the cone is smaller and the bottom is bigger. So I'm going to take my number 5 and keep it really skinny down here. And then I'm going to make it just a little bit wider down at the bottom. So see how I made that wider? It's skinny up here and then I made it wider, and now I'm going to color that in with my number 5 value. And once you have your number 5 value, we're going to go to our number 4 value, and you're going to just take, and you can use this number 6. So if we do our blending stick, you're going to rub on 6. So I'm going to rub on 6 and load up my blending stick, and then I'm going to come in here and do my number 4 right next to my number 5. And then I'm going to grab some of my number 5, smooth that out, and come over here and do my number 3. And I might get a little bit into my number 2 right in here, just a little bit. So we're going to go from our 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then our 1 is our halfway. So our cone then is three-dimensional. So one thing I'm going to have to do also to show you a couple of tricks, especially if you're left-handed, is you actually want to put a piece of paper over this, because when I do that, I get graphite all over my finger because I'm on the graphite. So you can actually protect the work that you've already done so that doesn't smear out. Now the next shape we're going to do is a cylinder. A cylinder is like a tube. So we're going to start down here, somewhere below your sphere a little bit. I just want you to make a skinny oval. Skinny oval. And it's just going to look like it's a flying saucer for a second, just kind of laying there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come straight down on each side, straight down. Make sure you're right on the edge of the oval, coming straight down. And then when you get to the bottom, you're going to curve this because we want it to look like it's a three-dimensional shape. So we're going to curve that. So bring that down. All right, so I have my cylinder, and then what I'm going to do is make my shadow. I'm going to go straight out again. So straight out, and I'm going to come straight out, and then I'm going to do this, go up here a little bit, so I'm just going to make like parallel lines like a railroad. But notice how I have this front one a little bit longer. I want this one just slightly longer, and I'm going to make a diagonal at the end because I want to have it look like it's laying on the table. And if I had it straight up and down, it wouldn't look correct. So I wanted to make it look like it's the shadows on a table. So then I'm going to do this and fill this in, just like we did before with all our other hard shadows. So go ahead and get this colored in. I'm going to try and go a little bit faster because I'm not sure how much memory I have left on my iPad. I need to clean up some stuff, I guess, or get rid of some apps and stuff. So you're going to go both ways, number 6. So when you're doing shading, it's very repetitive. You're doing the same thing over and over again, just with different shapes. So it's very, well, it's good practice because you get a lot of different shapes in, but you're doing the same thing, and every time I do this, I'm getting better at it. So I get better and better every time. Remember, you can use your eraser if you need to. Clean up an edge. Don't wipe. And we have our number 6 shadow. Now we're going to do the same thing with this one. We're going to just grab a little graphite and go right down the middle because our light is coming from this direction. So this side has a light touching it. So we don't want our shadow to go too far past that halfway. And then we're going to do our number 6 or our number 5. So we have our number 6. Now we're going to do number 5 about a quarter of the way. So quarter of the way is if I had $1 and I have 4 quarters, I'm only going to use 1 quarter for this. So I'm only going to go this far. So it's not all the way, it's a quarter of the way. So I'll go about that far. And now I'm going to grab my graphite from my number 6. Grab all that graphite because I'm making my number 4 now. My number 4 is 6, and then I'm going to rub, press hard, get this good and blended right next to my 5. Then I'm going to rub over on my 5 and kind of bring that over, blending on the 4. And then I'm going to bring that over into my 3 area, my 3 zone we'll call it, and then we just kind of lightly go past that, just slightly past that line to make our 2. So just slightly past that. And you just kind of keep rubbing this until you get what you like. I think it looks realistic. So now we've taken our light source here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if the light source is coming from here, this top isn't going to stay bright white because the light's hitting here. So I'm going to give just a little, maybe our number 2, just a real light on the top here to get my surface on the top because the light's not hitting that all the way bright. It's got a little bit of a shadow on the top of it. So I'm going to have just a slight shadow up there, maybe our number 2. Okay. And then for our last shape today, we're going to do a cube. And the cube is a little tricky. It's a 3-dimensional square. So I'm going to show you a really easy way to do it. You're actually going to draw a line straight up and down. And then I'm just going to have you make like an arrow, big arrow. So make a big arrow. So see how it kind of looks like an arrow? And then I have you copy that arrow, but you're going to do it at the top, going the same direction. So it's almost like a double arrow. So you have your line, you have your arrow, and then you have your arrow. It actually kind of looks like a book. So I'm going to actually turn this into a book for a second. Watch what happens when I do that. I'm going to take this line straight up and down, and I'm going to bring this one straight up and down. Now don't worry about where the end of this line is. I want it to be straight up and down, so I'm going to erase the extra line. So right here, I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to bring this line straight up and down. Don't worry about the ends, because we're just going to take those and erase those. Doesn't matter how long those are, we're gonna make them the length we want. So now if you look at that, I have a book. Now in order to make this a cube, what we're going to do, this is the front of the cube, and notice the direction the line goes. So the line goes this direction. So it goes this direction. I'm going to do the same thing in the back of the cube. I want these to be exactly the same. So you could even take your blending stick and go, okay, right here is my line. I'm going to go right there. So now these two are parallel. And then I'm going to do the same thing. This is the front of my cube. Take my blending stick, same thing. I'm going to bring it back, slide it back. And now I have the back end of my cube. Oops, notice I didn't get my corner, so I better fix that. So I want to make sure I'm right at my corner. So I was a little bit off there, but that's okay. Pencil erases. So you have your cube. So the trick to it is creating your parallel, and then your parallel. All three of these are parallel. And all three of these lines are parallel. That's the trick to making a cube. And then for our shadow, what we're going to do, our light source is going to come in this way. So I like to actually use another blending stick is great for this. You can make sure this is straight across. So if our light source is coming in, we're going to go from this corner, and we're just going to kind of come straight out, because we want to make sure that that's coming straight out from there. And then we have to imagine the corner over here. We can't see it, but it's not right here because we have all this space here. So we're actually going to go about halfway up on this side. And then what we're going to do is this one needs to be a little bit longer, and we're going to do that diagonal again. So this is just a real easy, quick way to do it. There's more complicated ways to do it, but this is just kind of for beginners. So this is the easier way to do it. Okay, so you need your number 6 here. So again, you're going to do your number 6. Get your 6 shade in there. Go both directions. Color that in. And again, if I'm going too fast, you can pause or stop. Normally I wouldn't go this fast, but I'm a little worried about my iPad memory. So I want to try and get this done for you guys. So here's my number 6. So if that's my number 6, and I have these 3 surfaces to deal with, the light's coming from this direction. So the light's going to hit this side. It's not going to hit this side. So I'm actually going to take this and make this a 5. So this is just your one direction. Now because this is a cube, it's not going to have all the values because it doesn't have a curved side, it's flat sides. So now I'm going to take my, I don't need a 4. I need probably more like a 3 for this top. So I'm going to grab my number 5 here and smooth this out. Number 5, and then I'm going to make the top a number 3. And remember, you can go back and add more, grab more graphite if you need it. I'm going to make the top a number 3. So I have my 6, and I'm going to come in here and just smooth out the 6, make sure it's nice and dark. And then I have my 5 and then my 3. Now because this is a flat surface, you can do this. You can add a little bit of shadow to this far corner of the cube and slowly work it out. But then you want to leave where it's closer to the light source, bright white. So you can bring just a little bit of this in and stop it about halfway. And that gives you a little bit of a shadow on this outside corner farthest away from the light source. So that's a good little trick for if the light's coming from this direction. So that's our practice for today. I know that's a lot, and there will be 2 videos. You'll have part 1, which I didn't know was going to be part 1, and then part 2. And I'll have that sent out to you. And I just want you to do some practicing. Maybe try the different shapes and go from different angles. So maybe what happens when the light comes from this way? What would the shadow do this way? So see how the shadow would come from a different direction. So you can play around with that. You can flip your paper over and do some work on the back. Or get another piece of paper. And then next week what we're going to do is we're going to put it all together. We're going to create something like this. So this will be our project next week. So we're going to do, so we have multiple shapes put together. All right, so just practice away as much as you can get done today. Take a break today. If you want to finish it tomorrow, that's totally fine. And then we're going to shoot for this for next week. All right, so I hope all of you are working hard and doing your best, being good leaders. I miss all of you very much, and I can't wait to see you again. I hope you're all staying healthy and safe. And I love you guys. Take care of yourselves and be good.